Mr. Russo's Advanced Language Arts class. Poetry Sucks. By Canon Wagner. Superscript 1 language is an important tool in the average person's tool belt that uses sound assigned to symbols put in a specific order to explain things clearly and efficiently. So why do we make word art that hides what we are trying to say and sounds like somebody barfed on a piece of paper? Poetry was an invention made by people with primitive entertainment. All they did was make poetry and twirl their skirts at harvest festivals. They did not have nice things like computers, video games, TV shows, and fireworks to entertain themselves, and yes, this is still the intro. Poetry sucks because of hidden meaning, the overcomplicated making, and the fact that it's where language goes to die. The first thing we need to get down is language. As you read in the intro, language is sounds assigned to symbols put in a certain order to make complete thoughts. Poetry fails to do this because poetry is making word art that has many meanings that are hidden for whatever reason. Superscript 2 You aren't a prisoner of war, and I will assume you aren't until I know otherwise. Stop putting secret messages in what you say what you mean, and mean what you say. Another thing about it is that nobody can agree on it. Is the author relating falling sand to the passage of time?
Oh.
Or is the author literally talking about falling sand? Is the author talking about the loss of ambition when they talk about being cold? Or is it just a little chilly? These unknown statements cause the reader to be nothing but confused. The final. The final part of this paragraph is dedicated to pointing out the mistakes in one of the alleged best pieces of poetry out there, Robert Frost's Stopping By on a Snowy Evening, so let's get to it. Whose woods these are I think I know, his house is in the village though, we can already see a flaw, in the form of the second line only having the word though to rhyme with the first line. He will not see me stopping here, to see his woods fill up with snow, he would have to stay significantly longer than stopping by to see the woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer, to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake. The darkest evening of the year. This implies that a stupid horse is aware of a calendar year, and what are the chances that he'd stop by exactly on the winter solstice? He gives his... He gives his harness bells a shake, to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. 1. Horses are garbage animals that just shake sometimes, not to ask if there is some mistake. 2. There is 100% no way that the only other sound is a falling snowflake and some wind, you couldn't hear a snowflake falling in the first place. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep. And miles to go before I sleep. Critics speculate all the time on what the repeating lines at the end of the poem mean, whether it's the slumber at the end of the narrator's journey, the more literal sleep at the end of the author's life, or the cold getting to his head. This argument leads to this poem being in a section of a 7th grader's argumentative essay about how poetry sucks.
Oh, fuck that noise.